Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of the SAP ALM Summit, and warm welcome to our session supporting RISE in Clean Core with SAP Cloud ALM. I'm Chris Lewis from our Strategic Program Office for Cloud ERP, where we run various different initiatives focused on Clean Core and RISE methodology. I'm joined by co-speaker Henrik Furman from our CXS organization. In the next 40 minutes or so, we're going to take you through a brief recap on Cloud ERP and Clean Core. And Henrik's going to talk you through how we use Cloud ALM to deploy the processes. We'd also like to take you through a bit more of a customer focus. So we talked briefly about Hitachi yesterday. We'll talk about that customer example and some of the different paths that customers take to follow a Clean Core approach. Okay, so to recap, RISE with SAP is about having a cloud ERP, modern for the business, based on AI. It involves having the right services, migration services, to help customers migrate with confidence, meaning that regardless of their path, whether they use, for example, greenfield, brownfield, or selective data transition, they have the tools available for them. It's about having management and optimization services for running a cloud-centric data center. And most importantly, it's about being able to drive continuous innovation through modernization and following Clean Core principles. So let's break that down a little bit. So Cloud ERP solutions, the premise that we're providing our customers is improved productivity. What we're really trying to focus on is automating processes, making sure that we leverage the AI capabilities that we build into the product. Being able to make faster decisions, that means using the analytical background that we have built into the solution. And then when it comes to applications, building based on automation, integration, and analytics and AI. And last but not least, also incorporating our latest innovations for sustainability to help customers drive their carbon footprint. When it comes to the management and optimization services, again, it's about having the right technology, outsourcing some of your responsibility when it comes to running the cloud applications, making sure you stay secure with latest cybersecurity updates, and improving risk and compliance. For the RISE modernization program, we're really trying to help customers accelerate the path to the cloud, unlocking the potential modern features and processes that come with a modern cloud ERP, providing access to best practice guidance through our RISE with SAP methodology program, and then tapping into our global ecosystem of data centers provided by SAP and our partners. So again, to recap on Clean Core, what it's about. So Clean Core is a way for customers to design and deploy their processes in a modern way, focused on ensuring that you have the maximum out of your business operations and that you have efficiency at the heart of your IT processes. So to recap the 5 Clean Core principles are processes, extensibility, keeping your extensibility clean, data, keeping a lean data footprint, integration, using your latest modern integration techniques that are stable and efficiently monitored, and having the right operations background to be able to have effective operations that support your business. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Hitachi, like we mentioned yesterday. So Hitachi, as we talked about, they've been able to, through their modernization program, achieve yearly annual updates to their solution, and they're able to do that within the span of 30 to 40 days. And we'll talk a little bit about how they've achieved that and some of the key principles that they've followed. So in terms of their approach and upgrade cycle, some of the Clean Core highlights that are in place. So Hitachi, at the start of their transformation, they decided they really needed to get alignment between the business and the IT to ensure that when they're driving this transformation, they're taking the opportunity to redeploy their processes, and they embarked on a digital transformation program. What they deployed was known as the 2-tier model, meaning that they recognized that for their core global template, they needed a bit more flexibility, meaning that they deployed a private solution so that they could have some flexibility around their maintenance cycles and some of the extensibility that they provided on that solution. In parallel, what they recognized is that actually for some of their subsidiaries and their sales offices, they could leverage the benefits of the SAP S/4HANA public cloud solution because they could fully standardize their processes, and they could get the best of both worlds where they had that push innovation that Wieland was talking about yesterday. What they've employed was a very strict fit-to-standard approach. And by fit-to-standard, as you're probably aware, what we really mean is that you start with the core SAP best practice processes. You take those as the baseline and the foundation, and then you innovate on top or deviate where necessary. So Hitachi followed a very strict governance in that regard. And at SAP, when it comes to governance, we talk about something called the SAP Solution Standardization Board. What that means is that you have a board that's set up and established between business and IT so that you ensure that you are following the standard processes where necessary. And where there is a request or requirement from the business to deviate, either in terms of the process or clean core principles, then that follows a very strict governance body where those who are investing in the transformation are able to evaluate whether the change that's being requested truly will provide business advantage and competitive capability to serve their customers. So for Hitachi, they very strictly followed a 3-tier extensibility model. That means that they leveraged the standard built-in APIs wherever possible, so those 2,000 plus APIs that are available. Where those are not available, then they used cloud-centric techniques like providing a wrapper around existing baddies and BAPIs to be able to provide that extensibility. They also embarked on modernizing the way that they develop applications. So they recognized that they needed additional skills in BTP. So they embarked in retraining some of their employees and recruiting new skills to be able to leverage the BTP model. One thing that they're extremely successful for was rationalizing their former extensibility landscape. So in the past, they had something like 9,000 plus add-ons or extensibility add-ons. And they were actually able to, in the process of simplification, cluster those down to something around 20 or so clusters of extensions. So you can imagine with that much simplified setup and landscape, it makes upgrades much more easier. The testing cycle is easier, and everything that goes along with adjustments is much more simplified. So talking about the upgrade approach. So for SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud Edition, like Wieland mentioned, we're talking about a push scenario. So the innovations are pushed to customers twice a year. The customers they receive the upgrades to their dev and QA systems, and then 2 weeks later, they have the push to production. So that means that the focus really needs to be on test automation. So Hitachi invested in making sure that they had the right test automates, and also on the integration. Now again, because the customer is deploying in a cloud-ready, cloud-compliant way, those integration testing is much more simpler than in the past with far fewer exceptions. For the global template, for the private setup, that's more the innovation pull scenario. So again, they're performing a yearly upgrade in a very short time frame. In the past, it was taking them around 6 months or so to perform an upgrade. And like we talked about yesterday, they were doing that maybe every 5 years. So now, again, they're performing annual upgrades within 30 to 40 days, with a much reduced testing effort due to their clean core compliant deployment. So not everyone's as strict or taking such a strict approach as Hitachi. It definitely requires a very, very solid mindset, and there are different ways that customers undertake a clean core journey. So it starts with the kind of deployment that they're doing. So if we look at Greenfield, for example, customers have a unique opportunity because they are either starting from scratch with a fresh new system, or they're redeploying, re-implementing an existing solution. But what that means is that they can instigate and follow clean core principles from the beginning in their very design of processes, extensibility, and data architecture. What it definitely does mean, though, is that they still need to follow a strong governance. So establishing something like a solution standardization board is still very necessary here, because even if you start with a clean core in mind, you need to make sure that you stay with the clean core. In the other scenario, let's say a brownfield, for example, it could be that the customer's performing a migration from an existing solution. They may not quite have the luxury of the length of time to be able to do a full cleanup as that process. So it could be that they may be transferring some of their legacy technical debt across their new implementation. Here, what we would advocate is that at least customers start with applying clean core principles when they're designing anything new. So any request for new extensibility, anything that involves a data footprint, should go through the process of going through the solution standardization. It also means perhaps taking some of the time to do the due diligence for archiving before the migration, checking data consistency, and doing some cleanup before. Not only is that going to help you in the new environment, but it's also going to reduce the time for migration. And the key with this one is that the clean core, it doesn't happen overnight. So alongside making sure you put in the right guidelines for your implementation post-go-live, it's also about going back, looking at your previous legacy setup, again, making sure you have continuous archiving, and doing some cleanup. So maybe you start with those unused custom objects, which are maybe transported into your system. Why have the added complexity of objects that aren't being used? And undertake that as a get clean kind of initiative going forward. Okay, so to recap, some of the disadvantages of the old legacy system that we're trying to alleviate is that we definitely want to ensure customers aren't running on old solutions. We want to make sure they have maximum benefit from latest technologies. Avoiding business disruption due to inflexible processes. So customers do make changes. Obviously, they're going to be making changes all the time to the solution. Where it's based on an older platform, that could involve complicated workarounds and adding to technical complexity. And then again, it's about the complexity of upgrades. So previous 6 months cycles and additional effort is something we're trying to eliminate. So with Clean Core, it's about focus on continuous innovation, improved business agility thanks to better data quality, and efficient operations. So focusing operational efforts on those things, again, which are truly business differentiating, making sure that you have modern maintenance techniques and that you have the right support in place to be able to support the business for the future. Rise with SAP methodology, we touched on this yesterday. It's a set of a standardized framework for customers to follow, involving a set of deliverables, artifacts, and accelerators, along with a set of quality gates that customers follow through each stage of their journey. And it's supported by our integrated tool chain. So where we're looking to design our platform for the future, it's about using LeanIX to take an inventory of our core capabilities, our core systems, where they are today, where we want to get to in the future. Signavio, it's about integrating process changes based on where we see process inefficiencies, all supported by Cloud ALM and BTP with the integration and build process. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Henrik.
Thanks a lot. Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah. All right, and I like to continue with the topic how Clean Core fits to Cloud ALM. I like to shortly introduce myself. My name is Hendrik Fuhrmann. I am responsible for the global rollout of Cloud ALM, as well as internal enablement, means working very close with our customer success organization, driving global initiatives to increase the adoption of Cloud ALM. I'm also part in the New Work community at SAP, facilitating New Work learning journey. So this is also one topic I'm driving. And today's topic is Clean Core with Cloud ALM. So before we start, just have a short starting point. You probably remember that slide, and you maybe have already seen it several times. So Cloud ALM supports innovations, means mainly how to support projects from designing to deploy. On the other side, we have keep your business running. So means detecting issues, correcting them, automate the issues if they're occurring. There's integration into BTP workflow management and so on. And another aspect is that Cloud ALM is also the go-to platform for service delivery. Means also going live services, maintenance services. Cloud ALM is the go-to platform. And which is probably where this changed quite new is from April, also in the context of RISE. I'm also working very close with the RISE, with SAP onboarding team, that from April, Cloud ALM is an essential part during the onboarding. This means the customer gets explained, this is RISE, and these are the steps you have to do. And Cloud ALM is an important step to ensure and to track clean core. And this is I wanted to walk through with you. So what does it mean and what we already offer, and what are also current challenges you might face right now. Okay, let's move forward. So, but before we start, I have a question to you. Can you, in simple words, can you tell me what is clean core? In simple words. I asked this myself as well, and as we have a great AI platform, I asked that, can you explain clean core to a child? Do you want to see what happened and what was the outcome? It is, imagine you can build your own little world or city, and you start with a basic version. Then the thing is, as you play more, you want to add houses, you want to have shops, parks. But the problem is, the game creator said, please only add things which fits into that city without breaking anything. I hope this gives a bit the context how clean core could describe. Coming back to our business means you should try to keep the main system clean without or with less custom modifications or adding complex custom code. This is the message behind. As well as use standard features as much as possible outside the core system. We will now walk through what does it mean. So think about, this should be actually a cool animation of a sprint. Let's see. I'm also an addicted runner, by the way, and when I selected that one, I was also thinking, if you start a project, then at the start you probably don't know what are your challenges. So this means at the moment there's a lot of things. We have technology changes. We have to adapt to the market. We have to connect people with technology. There's a couple of things we have to consider. And now the question is, are you able to do that? And how can Cloud ALM with that? So one obvious challenge is custom code. Nobody likes that because everybody knows, okay, this happened over the years, over the decades. So what I can do, so custom code cleaning up is no fun. It's a big project. It costs a lot of resources. It's impacting upgrades. It delays and costs upgrades. So, but we are talking about clean core. There's obviously a way how we can support. So let's have a look. So to overcome this challenge of custom code, we offer tools and expertise to look at the custom code in your system. We also want to assess what is the importance and the impact of the custom code. And in Cloud ALM, you have the opportunity with best practices to follow that. To be clean core compliant, I will also go later in that details for that. And in the end, you want to have a stable system, a stable and efficient system. So how can we do that? So one aspect is our readiness check integration. This means, you probably know this from SAP for Me. You can use, you can also have the readiness check as part of the SAP for Me. But the thing is, in Cloud ALM, you can do more with that. So you upload your analysis to Cloud ALM, and then you can also see what is your custom code. This is a conversion aspect as well as an upgrade aspect. So you can use it for both scenarios. And in Cloud ALM, you then see these results of the custom code. And here you can then say, okay, there is a custom code. I have a certain follow-up activity. I want to assign this to a certain person, to a certain consultant, to the developer. So you can decide what is the follow-up on this. Is it a requirement or is this a user story? And then this item is part of the project. So you can also report on this readiness check results. So this is a cool integration, that you not just see it in SAP for Me and you then probably work on Excel again. This is probably the case, what you're doing right now. No, you're doing a follow-up in Cloud ALM, assign it to the task, to a consultant, and then you can move forward and track the progress. One example, how to overcome this topic of custom code. Another one, custom processes. So this is probably very similar to custom code. Also over the years, you thought, okay, SAP best practices, I have my own best practices. And you modify, adapt that to a certain degree. And then it's always, if there are upgrades, you need also to verify, okay, what is the recommendation from us? And maybe I can also fit to that new process because it's faster, it's more efficient. So it's always then the discussions. This also what this short video should always the discussion. Custom processes. Do we need them? Do we don't need them? What is the impact on our business and so on? So in Cloud ALM, you probably know that it's maybe also nothing new, but we stick to use best practices. This is the goal because the main reason is to fit to standard as much as possible. This is efficient. This is to have consistency, and it's also to have a standardized process design. I know there's certain reasons why this is not possible, but this is still our intention to overcome that. This means, what is our recommendation in Cloud ALM? Also probably nothing new. It is consume the RISE with SAP methodology. And at this case, in this time, it also contains the clean core task. So we have both in one. So this is for customers who are signing RISE deals. But of course, you can also use it in addition. If you're already on S4, you can also use the clean core for continuous improvement. On the other side is use the best practice processes as much as possible. If also we saw it yesterday shortly when the Signavio integration is there, also to use it as much as possible. Yeah, keep best practice work, try to fit to standard workshops. And on the other side, we have also a third topic, which is integrations. Probably even worse. Yeah, a lot of different systems over the years, and the question is also how to get this in sync, how to overcome the different integrations. Yeah, this should show how it looks like. So you have a variety of systems which you want to control. Yeah. So what is the challenge? Yeah. So it's obviously we need to focus more on standard APIs. Yeah. OData, SOAP. Yeah. Then also take the opportunity for cloud platform integration. And there's also capability inside Cloud ALM, the exception monitoring, integration and exception monitoring, to help you to overcome that, to see this quickly. This is I can recommend. But another aspect I wanted to show you is that one. You probably know Cloud ALM has on the business Accelerate Hub a lot of APIs. You probably know that. Yeah. You're quite very experienced. And we have this in different areas. But what is probably new for you, we have a very new integration, which I just got last week from Pretty, for integrations inside of the project. So you have now on the project header, it's probably quite small, a subscription, yeah, and from there you can configure your external APIs. This example shows a Jira integration, and you see this also here on the right side, that from our external API integration, you can configure this inside Cloud ALM. And this means also getting updates from Jira is also automatically reflected in Cloud ALM, which is, I think, a very good. And you can do this for, as you can see that, for tasks, for user stories, for requirements, defects, and features. Yeah. So this is one opportunity we offer now on the project level. You can directly configure that. So let's coming back a bit to the things what Chris said. How is now supporting Cloud ALM Clean Core? Yeah, we obviously have this dimension of processes. I already mentioned that. This means consumption of best practice processes consistent to have efficiency and consistency. Yeah? And for that, we offer this RISE with SAP methodology, which includes the so-called Clean Core Success Plan. Yeah. Another aspect is also to use a readiness check to remediate the simplification items. This is also one part which belongs to processes. The other aspect is extensibility. Yeah. This means Cloud ALM is a platform to manage hybrid and hybrid developments, means ABAP and BTP developments. So this is part of Cloud ALM. But what I showed in the example is also you can use it also to reduce or to analyze your custom code as part of the readiness check. And this is for upgrades as well. From the data side, I think here we are still in a kind of, to be very honest here, environment of development process. Yeah, I think there is a readiness check possible where you can analyze your financial data, but this will come also even more. And the integration, yeah, so how we can cover integrations, yeah, there I would say there's a strong recommendation to leverage the interface and integration monitoring. to look what are my applications errors. Yeah, so this is also one aspect here. And finally, to close that, we have the operations part. Yeah, means, of course, this is we can use here the entire monitoring capabilities what we have in place, so all of these reuser monitoring and so on. But I think important for customers also to use what is my process efficiency. So business process monitoring is here also a key element in that story. So this is how we support. There is much more. Yeah. For example, when I go back to extensibility, we are also here supporting the platform. Think about build apps, SAP build apps, yeah, for low code, no code. This is also one part where we are kind of supporting these different products. So how to track now the clean core process? Yeah. This means you probably know that in Cloud ALM, we have that project overview. This is probably already know for other projects. This is now also available to track and to measure the tasks in the clean core process. This is one aspect, how to see where I am in the project. Another aspect is also this quality case. This was also shown yesterday shortly. This means we expect that you fill up a kind of questionnaire with some questions to targeting activities, like do we have a concept for custom code and so on, and do we have organization behind? And this is then validated by our onboarding team, by our RISE onboarding team, and you got then these results back into Cloud ALM. This is a bit, in short, the process. Yeah, maybe it's the first time a bit unclear what to do, but there's a guidance from our onboarding team what to fulfill. And with that, I also already a bit earlier than expected. I already like to come to the key takeaways for the sessions today. So one thing is what I tried to mention at the beginning is to adapt to market demands. Yeah? So there is a need to look, okay, when I have a change, what I have to do. So how I need to adapt my process, my integrations. This is one thing we want to solve with RISE and, of course, with Cloud ALM. Another aspect is also the things what you're doing is also that Cloud ALM can be used to also use it for further projects. For further projects, as I mentioned, readiness check for upgrades, to reduce the upgrade times. This is also one key element for that. And also leveraging new technologies, especially when you're talking about the example I showed you for APIs. Look that even in Cloud ALM you can already integrate this as part of Cloud ALM using other services on the BTP, SAP build apps for low-code, no-code development. Consider that. I think this is the key moving forward. And last but not least, excel in a dynamic environment. So it's something what you see for organizations. There is a demand. Learning is obviously also a topic. The learning of people and technology is what will drive us. And with that, please don't forget to use our hashtag ALM Summit through social media as you like. If you want to post something, please use ALM Summit. And if you have questions, so this is now the right. Okay.
Good morning. Thanks for the presentation. Question: is there a difference between a readiness check in SAP Cloud ALM and SAP for me, or technically it's exactly the same? As you mentioned, just benefit is to use Excel, not to use Excel. Where it is? Thank you.
We have a slightly technical problem, so we have just 2 lines. All right. Can you hear me? Yeah. So actually, technically, there's no difference. Yeah. So you also upload the results, so this zip file, to SAP or either to Cloud ALM. So there's no difference. It's just this follow-up. Because in SAP for me, you just get the results. You could also export this to Cloud ALM from SAP for me, but this is a different integration. Yeah, so the most meaningful is to directly import this to Cloud ALM, yeah, to have these follow-ups.
So it's important to understand that Cloud ALM is not just an infrastructure towards the customer. Yeah? It's also, on the same code line, we have also internal Cloud ALMs. Yeah? And one of them we call internally Psalm and Public ALM. And Public ALM is actually the code line in which the readiness check is developed. And it can be either exposed to SAP for me if customers don't have Cloud ALM, yeah? Or it can be consumed through Cloud ALM, and then you can do all the follow-up management also in Cloud ALM for simplification items. So technically, it's even the same code. Yeah? We just offer it also in SAP for me for customers that don't yet have Cloud ALM.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Is there another question?
Hello, good morning. My question is, what importance does Cloud ABAP has in regards of clean core? And can we also have clean core with normal ABAP developments?
Yes. The answer is yes. So although obviously we advocate BTP, and you've seen that very, very frequently, you can be very cloud compliant with what we call on-stack. So it's following the same methodology. Actually, BTP consumes the same APIs as you can consume locally on your system. So whilst certainly for a lot of the application requirements, we do advocate BTP, certainly especially for very tightly coupled extensibility, actually developing on stack is a very viable and clean option. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm a new customer regarding SAP. We're implementing a greenfield S/4HANA integration. Regarding the clean core, you said that as soon as you have custom processes, then that you deviate from the clean core. Am I understanding that correct, or can you have a lot of customized processes and still have a clean core?
So no, to clarify, you can have custom processes. I mean, you really should be focusing on those processes which differentiate you. That's the key message. Not that any customization in your processes is by default not clean. It's just about especially where you're extending on top of them, focus and prioritize those which are differentiating the business. So something like a core accounts receivable type process, probably you versus your competition, there's not too much difference between it. So that's where we advocate using the best practices where possible.
And maybe to add this, it's a bit to challenge that. Yeah, to challenge that, is the custom process really needed? Yeah, so this is a bit the message behind that. That's why focusing on standardization as much as possible, because otherwise clean core will be a real long journey.
Okay, any other questions in the room?
We all know that the RISE contract is specific to individual customers, and RISE contracts have been signed since maybe months back or years back even over time. What you are now presenting for us as part of features in Cloud ALM and methodology components that customers can make use of? Is that going back in time even to customers that have signed RISE contracts, for instance, end of last year or even earlier?
It is. So the features that you're looking for is for RISE customers. The difference being is if you've already gone through the onboarding process, you wouldn't necessarily have the same onboarding steps that Hendrik mentioned, because you're already, let's say, potentially already in the run phase. But it's still equally applicable in terms of being able to leverage the content, and actually, the RISE methodology runs into the run phase. You should be performing regular checks on your clean core throughout your life cycle. So yes, it's equally applicable.
Maybe a more practical connection to that question. If I am with a customer that right now is in Explore, we have looked at the previously provided Excel cases for the quality gate for prepare phase, for instance. Could we now go back, use Cloud ALM to redo the check for the prepare phase and maybe also get this interaction with SAP on our evaluation of the prepare phase quality gate?
I'd need to confirm, but I think you can submit a quality gate, yes, to get the report. Yep.
Maybe one last question. As you know, we need to be in time.
Hi, Hendrik. One question about a brownfield approach. You mentioned that you overtake some developments, and then for the new developments, you follow the clean core principles, right? But we saw the dashboard as well. Is your recommendation at some point to redo the developments that you can also reach 100%, or does it stay and you're always like at 98, 99%? What's your recommendation?
I like the question, can we reach 100%? Yeah, it's a good one, I would say. When I presented, I wanted to inspire you that best practices and to use as less code, custom code as possible is, of course, the goal. And even when this is validated to our onboarding teams, they will not look. That there's no custom code any longer, so it will not happen. And I think it's just the way how you deal with upcoming developments. Or let's not development, saying requests. What do you do with new business requests, new requirements? How you deal with that? And does it lead to a custom development? I think this is the key to challenge this yourself. And of course, your organization, is it needed? Is it required? If so, okay. And if so, then okay. Or probably we make that later. So just that. Custom develops will be there, of course, and you probably will not reach 100%, but use apps like build apps, APIs, no RFC anymore. This is a bit the message. Use standardization as much as possible.
To add there one comment, at 2:45 today we are talking about system conversion, and I'm also talking then about applying clean core principles in a system conversion project. So we will also talk about this then.
All right, then.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Thank you for coming to our session. And let's know if you have other questions.